Hello and welcome to episode 2 of my Stanley Parable Ultimate Edition playthrough. I started the game and I set the clock correctly and this is what the game said, so I thought it was pretty funny, so. Don't take that seriously, easy to leave the clock set and call it a day, but you're actually taking the time to set the clock and I appreciate it, but that's how I know that you care about this experience you're paying attention. I don't even have any way of knowing if the time you're setting got correct. Tell you what, I'll make you a deal. Since you've been so corrupt, next time you boot up the game and see this screen, just set the clock to your favorite time. Go ahead, pick whatever time you want, even if it's not correct, you've earned it. Alright, I'll let you go back to the video game. It's very funny that they're going to go and do this. But it also just shows that, in my eyes, this game cares about its player base. Plus, they say they don't have a way to go and check whether you've set the time correctly, but in reality, they probably can just go and check whatever your machine time is and use that as an effective source. If the game is allowed to go and connect to the internet, they can go and have a set clock, and that set clock can then be connected to one of the atomic clocks somewhere around the world, and then use that as a time reference to what you set. So, but still.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
So, quit the game and then start it again. So, as I said, this time we'll be going to the escape, or, the escape, which means I'll see you at the mind control / escape sequence choice. See you there!
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door.
No, we won't.
That read
We will this time
Mind
go
Control
to
Facility.
over here to the escape.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
We'll see you there. And I guess we'll go downstairs when we're going
The
up
door
to the
behind him
office.
was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Now let's just not listen to this
point,
guy for now.
Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Hello. Huh. Okay. Well, let's go down there. Ain't got anything better to do, you know? But that doesn't mean we have to listen to him. Kind of reminds me of Portal.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws.
Oh, really now?
In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Ow. Apparently not. Huh. Something decided to go and let me live.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
I don't know. We'll see. That's the part of the story.
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Oh, this is such a great game. This is really like how it looks, and sort of like this is the exact model of how everything is going to look. These are actual wall paintings that they had, for instance, in the boss's office. These are like the room numbers, how they're supposed to look. Final cabinets. Buttons. They're putting you in the bug testing room. the things that they're doing on the computers, just so you know. Credits. This is very, very well. Yeah, I'm not actually reading these. I'm just scanning over them. Boss's office. I was supposed to go and look. Oh, they went with the second one, I guess. Boss office clock. Huh. This is a very nice way to go and see sort of like what it's like to go and sometimes create a game and sort of like get the general feeling and sort of like the idea of what they're trying to achieve. It's very lovely how they're making it look and feel. Warzone. Oh, this is one we still have yet to go to, actually. Probably also has a description of what everything is and how you're supposed to partially attain it. Yeah. Date. Narrator emails. Yeah, I'm somewhat sad that I can't really talk about it in better detail or what is actually happening. Oh. Yeah. Oh, that's just how that thing's supposed to sound. I was already thinking, like, what am I hearing? This is... Standing levers. Huh. So this truly does feel like the bug testing trailers. But I guess some of the game, which I haven't talked about. This game is now an official game you can buy on Steam. But before that happened, you actually go and had a different game, which was on Gary's mod, also a game which was called The Stanley Parable. Also, this is, I guess, the first real choice. So, first choice, obey, disobey, and then you go to the lounge, then the maintenance, and then you can go back to the staircase, or you can go. And then, maintenance. The other entrance would be hidden depending on how you entered. Option 2, option 2. Okay. One option, 1, 2. Obey, disobey, lounge, maintenance. The confusion ending. Yeah, we kind of went there. We still have more to do. What about this event? So this is, I guess, also how they decided that maybe this is what you're trying to go and do, or how they wanted the game to kind of look. They're sort of like storyboard, where basically the option 1 is what they actually went with. Option 2 is the idea that, okay, so you can just obey and go to the staircase, or you can disobey. And then you have the lounge, which goes back to the obeying path, but can also go to the maintenance route or the staircase. Then option 3 is sort of the idea that, okay, you can obey and you can go to the staircase, or you can disobey and you can go to the lounge or the maintenance room. And then from there you can go to the confusing ending or back to the staircase. Or this one where somehow there is a door connecting obey and disobey. You can go to the lounge, and then to get the maintenance you have to go and use a vent, which can then give you the confusion ending, or you can go to the staircase and obey again. Which, I mean, this one actually is probably the most practical. Well, all of the other ones are more interesting and more sort of like puzzly and thinking. And yeah, I guess that's very well thought out. Because sometimes being simple and easy is one of the best things you can do. Because it allows a very large amount of players to, well, enjoy the game, I would say. And that's what makes it fun and enjoyable for a lot of people. And a lot of people will want to go and play it. Yes, this is either multiple ways that they designed the original office. Yeah, just sitting... And here there's file cabinets. And here there's file cabinets and a box and sort of like Lamp wasn't also in the first one. It is in the second. So these two boxes are the big difference, as well as the file cabinets being open. I like the idea that it's working. As well as like extra props on the desk. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Game design mock-ups are like what it's supposed to look like and how it's supposed to feel like, I guess. The elevator that takes you down. Countdown room. Yeah, we noticed that. Countdown desk. From early stage of the countdown ending. Freedom ending. Yeah, we've been there. We've done that. Oh boy, I'm just walking in circles now. Great. This is near the boss office. The lounge. Underground and elevation. The underground.
Now look closely, Stanley. See how it's impossible for the player to do anything.
Recorded dialogue through 3 records over the 2 years of development. These are clips really that are not used.
See how it's impossible for the player to do anything in this room. Perfect example of poor level design. Textbook mistake. It's the kind of thing you pick up on intuitively if you had even the most fundamental understanding of good and bad game design. But of course, you'll probably spend the next hour trying to solve it. Here.
I do have to say that the narrator has a very good voice. He's very good at voice acting, and I hope he, well, had success with other things as well and continues to go and have success. Yeah, elevator maintenance room. And here.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Free of what?
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another?
I guess, yeah.
No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
Well, I mean, I could kind of see it.
Listen to me. You can still save those two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
Well, the reason I didn't do anything is because then I would still have been controlled by someone. Which is what I meant the first time around. When he said, oh, could he have been controlled all this time? You're always being controlled by somebody. So yeah.
All of his Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
We'll go to the meeting room and then close to the boss. See you there.
Up to his boss's
No, we're going down this time.
Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense.
Yeah.
And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations.
It's the same few rooms.
Why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
Yeah.
Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went?
Game logic.
And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar.
They are the
Simply
exact same.
repeating.
Yes.
No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream.
Really?
Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all.
Really?
He thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid.
Oh, really?
So,
let's go and do that
he
then.
imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Oh.
then
We are.
he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one.
Okay then.
Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine.
Really?
I am okay.
But it didn't work. Hooray! So, only 30% of people have
Stanley
a
began
career
screaming.
of voice
Please,
interest.
someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just
What about
someone
the
tell
boss's
me I'm
name?
real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I?
Weren't you Stanley?
And everything went black.
Oh, great. That sounds like we got an ending. Hooray!
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Oh, hello.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk.
Oh,
And
no!
although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew.
But he was dead!
Everyone knows what crazy people look like.
Not really.
In that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't.
Do we really?
It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension...
If you call an ambulance for somebody, you're supposed to stay there!
No time for this. So it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Ran? What? That's like trying to go and say, hey, listen, people, I murdered this person. So, okay, a bit about what he's saying and what I said. Apparently, what we're actually seeing with our eyes is the world upside down. Also, there's supposed to be a little pokey hole in our vision, but our brain just fills it in. And your brain does that a lot of times. Your brain also has a part, actually, for your memories, that if you decide to go and think something, it will just go and fill in the biggest lies there are. It just literally will lie to you and tell you how things are or what you think, even if they're not real. It really does not care. I just wanted to go and say, you're never truly in control. You just think you are. So, yeah. We can't really tell what's sane and not sane. Also, the voice in the head, as I said. 30% of people can actually go and think as if though they're talking to themselves. And 70% of people cannot. I am one of the people that can. And it ain't always the nicest thing. But, okay, so. Where are we going now? We're going to the confusion ending. But considering I already did a bunch of the confusion ending, I'll probably back to the double door. And I'll see you there. So. New content? Well, I guess I'll take this then.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
I don't know. That's why I'm going here. I'm trying to figure out what this means, you know? Which means what I said before was a lie.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
No, thank you for making it.
As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers.
Kind of. I don't know.
After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
Oh, thank you.
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
Oh, yay.
Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
What does it have?
Well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but
Agreed.
I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we...
We're gonna
be
drop
moving
probably or
somewhere?
fly?
Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Well, it sounds like it might even be kind of disappointing. Well,
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
well, it's working. By tapping space and control at the same time, it's easier. So we can no longer jump. Oh, they removed it.
Is that it?
Nah.
Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Here it is, disabled.
Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive.
Really?
It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there.
Not
Hell,
really,
I could
it's all
count to
content.
30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley
Really?
Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's
Really?
see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
What is? Thank you for the new
That's
content.
it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy
But they're
dollar.
trying to
And
do their
don't get me
best,
started
and
on the
they're
level
doing
of
it very smart.
craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore."
Yeah,
What
that's
quality
actually one
assurance
of them.
department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable.
And then?
It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could
Really?
never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
I am kind of amazed that he would say such things, but still. Hey! We haven't been here before. Huh.
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
Well, what do we have over here then? We take the new content route. Coffee mugs and screwdrivers in a vent. I don't know why they would need them, but still.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it
Not
got
really.
me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Mipfrau Drummer Lane. Oh, it's a smile because it happened. The Stanley Parable. Alpha test. The Stanley Parable demonstration. The impossible achievement. Go outside. Don't play for 5 years. Now it's 10 years. Nominees. Story. Debate game. Game invitation. New game released today. Oh, it's so good. It really shows that they know what they're doing. Damn that ending though. Still.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created."
It's
Did you hear
not
that,
every game
Stanley?
ever, but
Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim. It was
Really?
Persona 3.
What?
It was all of them. And now, it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
really. Maintenance zone. It's really good. Yeah, that's something that's also in the game, which I still have to find. Let's begin again. Ah, the two doors. Person of the year. That's supposed to be Stanley. Ah, yes, the woman. Huh? I've no idea what this... That's supposed to be like the window, but I guess it's also how it's set up. Yeah, it's so smartly thought out because they really know kind of what this game is about and how it's supposed to be. And that
Here's another moving passage,
Even
this
to
time
it's
from
just a story.
GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect.
It's 10 out of
It didn't
10.
need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone. To spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
But honestly speaking, man, this is very good. This is very well done.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again.
And then?
Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before.
Reviews.
What's this? What's down here? Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Probably not.
Honestly,
Hey,
I could not be
positive one.
bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
It really just shows that it's a really good game. It really just knows what it is and why. Even more. I really do advise you to go and play it. It's really fun.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I?
I don't know what
Tell me
preachy
if
is.
I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it...
Well, there is a room where we can hear it.
But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These
Really?
black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Really now? It's actually very good. I really do enjoy
What's
it.
this one got to say? You
something fun.
constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button.
Honestly speaking, why do people
A skip
play these
button.
games?
Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
I don't know why though.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get.
But then you have
Well, since
nothing.
I'm waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here,
No.
we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue. And it
You
goes
are
something
already.
like this. The story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah, 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245, that the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, for until inevitably, we all
Literally
until the end of
parable
time,
themselves.
at which time everything all at
Oh,
once.
this is so good.
Now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet.
Wait, is he repeating? Yeah.
245. That the logic of elimination working backwards.
Let's repeat it.
Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes
That was
and
good.
lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games.
Not really,
Of course,
but...
I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are or were or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your Greek gift of mortal and yet timeless thought? Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made in fact make you more not this kind of person, and in fact do the very opposite? You see, it could in fact be both of these things at once. That you are both making choices and not making choices, and that they are both affecting you and not affecting you at the same time by virtue of the fact that you both are and are not making them. Okay, at first I was leaning towards manifesto, but now I'm going to circle around and slap the treatise label on this one. I think it has much more of a treatise vibe to it. But wouldn't you say that manifesto just has a much grander
I don't know
tone?
what
It has a
manifesto really
mouthfeel.
is, so...
It is rich with ambition and history. Ambitious history, if you will. See, now you've gotten me going back to manifesto. Heavens, at this rate, we're going to be here all day. Okay, look, I have a method for exactly this sort of situation.
This
and I
button?
do find myself in this situation frequently. I'm going to say each word back and forth in repeated succession until I become sick of one or the other, in which case the word I am not sick of shall be the victor. It is an unimpeachable strategy, Stanley. It's rescued me from disaster in countless situations.
Really? Okay then, let's
All right,
go see.
Here we go. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto.
And now we have the
Oh,
button.
well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button.
Yeah.
The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review.
Probably
or at least
not.
change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess
Yeah,
I
you
should
can.
become better educated on exactly how Steam works. Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review, merely because of this very situation. Yes, I think that's quite likely.
But you would need to take the
Or
skip button
perhaps they'll
everywhere.
simply grant this particular user the ability to change their review, so that the feature is not widely abused. Look, I would even be okay with Steam altering this particular review so that it reads as something more beneficial. Something along the lines of, this game is the best game. Let me start over. How about this? From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of
Wait,
quality.
why is there no subtitle here? Let's go and click the skip button to make sure nothing bad
welcome
happens.
back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That
Really?
last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes.
Oh, that's kind of
Not
nice then.
unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know,
Really?
it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room?
Yes, but it was
I
locked.
do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large
No.
crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button, to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear there was. Where did it go? Can you maybe just ram your way through a wall? Is there
I
any
think we can
possibility that you
skip
could
a lot.
slam your body into the wall until enough damage is done for you to be able to leave? Please, I'll take any option at all. I'm asking you to work with me here. We need a door. We need a door
We
of some
have
kind.
the skip
I can
button.
work with any kind of door as long as it can open and lead from one room to another. I'm going to step away for just a moment, and I'm going to try to find us a door. I don't know how exactly to remove a door and place it in a different wall, but I will find a way, I promise. You just need to
I
not
have
do
a way
anything.
to do
Don't
that.
Press the skip button. Please, please, please do not press the skip button. Just wait here for me, and don't press the skip button. Got it? Yes, good. I'll be right back.
I'll be skipping that. Ta-da!
Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room.
What?
Stanley, the
No.
door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times.
Well, you had
And
12
there's
hours to do it.
No door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen.
I can kinda guess.
I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here, and more than anything else, I don't know how to stop you from pressing the button again. I can't control anything in this room, Stanley. I can't touch it, and I have to believe, I have to know that sooner or later, no matter how much I plead with you, you're going to press the button again. Why would you?
To make
What are
sure
you
I don't have to
thinking
wait
and
for
thinking?
12 hours.
I don't know what I can do to convince you otherwise. Oh my God. And it's all because of those reviews. Those reviews that I couldn't get out of my head. I just couldn't ignore the negative feedback. Why was it so important for me to fix the problem? Why did Cookie Nine's opinion matter so much to me? I've never even met Cookie Nine.
Because
I
you
have
care,
no
because you want to do your
idea
best.
who they are. What would it ever really matter? But here I am. I'm fixating on every tiny negative thing that anyone ever says about me. The merest mention of one of my imperfections, and I become as impetulant as a child, wild and impulsive. I can't help
Perfectionist.
myself. I can't stop myself from lashing out with a vengeful fury to
Or
alter and to
big
change
disappointment
and
in
to break
yourself.
anything unbroken, if only it pleases this one person who made a single negative comment. What does such an impulse serve? For whose benefit is this?
It's yours because you're a
Here I am now,
perfectionist.
stuck in a room, waiting for you to press this button and to become frozen in time, knowing that you're going to do it and that I'm going to be stuck all alone, and that I had the power to prevent it all from happening if only I'd held my tongue. It's all out of my control now. Just you. Just your decision as to exactly when you're going to make me suffer, to leave me all alone. Surely you will. I don't doubt it. Surely you'll press that button again, leaving me here. And surely you'll put your own desire to see what's next ahead of my need for company, for companionship. Surely you'll not be moved by my howls of fitful anxiety that you sit with me and just stay here. Oh, no, 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 I know you too well. You'll be leaving me. Oh, my God. And it's all because of those reviews.
Yeah.
Those reviews that I couldn't get out of my head. I just couldn't ignore the negative feedback. Why was it so important for me to fix the problem? Why did Cookie Nine's opinion matter?
And we're repeating.
Oh, Stanley, you're back.
Oh.
You're back. Oh, my goodness.
One of
I
the
have
lamp
someone
is
to
only
talk to
active.
again. Stanley, I think it's been a week.
Wow, from 12 hours to a week? Or 2 weeks?
I've
Wow.
been sitting here all that time, just sitting here, not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking,
More or less.
and you saying nothing.
That's
Would
how
you
it's been.
think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all.
Oh,
It isn't
really?
even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button.
That's correct.
That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley. Not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all up. I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that someone else is taking it in. These
I more or less
words
am.
that I'm saying, I need to know you can hear me. Because
Hello.
maybe, Stanley, maybe, if you can hear me, then maybe it means I'm real. Maybe I'm not just a fiction. Was I scared of that all along? Perhaps.
No,
Yes.
no.
Perhaps I've been scared this whole time, that if I stop speaking, I'll slip backwards into the silence and be consumed by it. I can't be taken by it, Stanley. I can't lose myself in the stretch of emptiness between you and me. When you press that button, you're still right there, but I know you're so tremendously far away. And in those moments, the emptiness folds itself outward in between the two of us, and I am suspended in its unyielding quietness. I can feel the edges of my reality curdling inward and decaying. I can tell that I am becoming less and less real. Yet to speak to you now, I am alive. I am truly and completely here.
Well,
I
the
am a
next time we
being.
press
I
it,
am
it's
someone.
not going to be
I am
good.
something. I am being listened to. I am being recognized. The
Kind of.
emptiness between us has collapsed, and I feel right now like I am not a work of fiction. I feel as though I occupy space in this world again.
Well, if you were
and I've
real,
cast
I
a
would talk
shadow
back.
onto the wall. You see what I'm saying, don't you? You can see what this means to me. I'm so clear about it now, Stanley. I feel as certain about this as I've ever felt about anything at all. I feel renewed. I feel restored, and already I can sense the looming silence as you will press the button for the next time. What a terrible dread it strokes in my heart to think of it, to think of returning to such coldness. Come, let us sit in silence together here for just a moment. Let us anticipate it. Let us welcome it. Let us not run from it.
No, I think I will be skipping it. And probably be frozen in time forever. And restart the story because of it.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you
Oh.
ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year?
No, I
Let me
died.
describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All
That's
of
harsh.
them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust simultaneously. I was consumed by it. I could do nothing but wallow in it for what felt like an eternity, for what I now know was far less. You see, it was
It was a year, you
revelation
said.
for me. It
At
was
least.
unlike anything I had ever known. It was a space without consequence, without action or outcome. It was divorced entirely from the question of free will that you and I have squabbled over for so long. There could be no one ending, no singular outcome of events, not if all events existed in the same moment. And I felt freed. I felt unburdened by the need to manifest a particular outcome into being. I saw that I could allow myself to exist along all timelines, and that
Ooh,
each of them
that's
was
amazing.
simply a strand in the web of my being. It was incredible. The spaciousness, the equanimity of the moment, both singular and infinite. For the longest time, this was my experience. And then this moment passed, and the most unyielding fear I have ever known crept into my mind.
What was that
and it is
then?
this sensation that I have been experiencing now for longer than I could have ever expected was possible. I have been waiting for you.
Oh.
Not that you might save me or do something to fix it, but merely to state for you the plain fact of this manner of existence. I wish you to feel afraid as I do, that perhaps one day this state of mind will consume you as well. Perhaps you will somehow, in some way, have to live as I do now, and I wish for you to know how excruciating it is, and for you to be in true terror of its eventual arrival. If I can only do this, only this one thing, perhaps it will bring me the smallest moment of peace in the darkness.
Jeez, it sounds like this person was a perfectionist and he might have suffered from depression. Holy hell. And when I'm talking about that, I mean the original writer. That sort of feeling of constantly wanting to go and fix a mistake, to go and change it. That is something some perfectionists have, or people with very heavy forms of OCD. And they are amazing at creating some things, but it's very hard to let go of other things. And what I mean to say is that this person, just seeing a negative review, really could probably rip them apart. It really hurts them, because they wanted to go and change it. They wanted people to just have fun with it. That's the entire point of the game. They wanted to go and have people enjoy it. And originally speaking, the game was free. You didn't have to pay for it. You had Gary's mod, then you installed the Stanley Parable. So when the Ultra Deluxe came for a paid price, yeah, for some people it probably felt kind of like a scam, because they wanted it to go and be free, and now you had to pay for it, and in return you didn't get anything. So that hurt some people. And then basically, well, some people will play this game and they won't enjoy it. That it's not their type of game. So all of a sudden they think it's important to go and tell people, hey, I don't like this, change this for me so that I can like it. What I don't like is the narrator, and the reason I don't like the narrator is because he's talking on a level where I cannot understand what he's saying, and therefore I don't want it to go and be there. The narrator is actually questioning some very high level things, which is very much done by the writer. And if we go back to the other room, he said it took them nearly 2 to 3 years to go and make this game. That's a lot of time to go and be thinking about things, and especially when you're a perfectionist, because when you're a perfectionist, you create something, you send it over, then you listen to what he said, and you're like, well, this isn't good. I have to go and stop this. We're removing that. New lines. What do you mean new lines? Well, completely from scratch. We're doing everything over again. So, yeah, I can definitely say that this game is very well made. It is very good. The person really poured their heart out, and like I said, I do believe we should go and play it. So, but we have the skip button here for us. Not to go and skip the narrator talking, even though we could the moment he opens his mouth, just press it. But we are pressing it now to go and continue the story. Wow, it's even darker and the button is stuck. I can't even press it. I guess the idea is that because so much time passed, even the narrator isn't here anymore. And we're just supposed to be stuck in this room forever. Oh, look, the clock fell down. We truly are powerless in this situation, are we not?
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though
he
there
can't
were no
feel and understand
consequences for a
everybody. He
lack
has
of
his own
cohesion in
problems.
one's
Jeez,
assessment
what
of
dicks.
others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley Parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen.
And it did happen.
The most immediate desires, every single thing demanded by every person at every moment in time. If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being. Have we been given to indulging every fleeting whim for
That's
no
actually
reason
very
other than to do
smartly
so?
done.
Yes! Yes! It seems that this is now the world we live in. It seems that we are a people living in such bleakness and discomfort with ourselves that our entertainment is now our lives. It has come to represent us. It absolutely must speak to who we are as people, because otherwise, without our entertainment, we have nothing. Without entertainment, we would have to face inward toward the cruel bleakness inside ourselves. We would turn to look at our deeper nature and find a resounding emptiness gazing back with unyielding aggression. And so because of this, we require that our amusements and our playthings and our flights of fancy be so impossibly captivating that they consume all of our attention, turn our heads completely away from the bleakness. In effect, we have demanded that our entertainment be the collapse of ourselves. What a pitiful reflection of humanity these entertainments
Yeah,
are.
they
What
are.
a shameful mirror to the human spirit they project. I'm not mad.
God, this
I'm
is
not
a
mad
very
about
good
any of this.
speech, though.
I'm at peace with it. I am the calm center of gravity around which these perversions hurl themselves. I am a waypoint for reasonable and collected discourse. They're the ones who are mad. They're the ones who couldn't stand the idea of me using my game to try to say something. Maybe they were just jealous of me. Yes.
Nah,
Yes,
probably
of
not.
course.
Probably not
They've
incapable of
been
understanding the
jealous of me
entirety.
This whole time. They are mired in fear and insecurity and cannot help but attempt to tear me down. What a sad state of affairs. When
It
you
is,
read
but it's
these
not
reviews
because
now,
of the
you can
reasons
see
you
it.
said.
You can taste the bitter resentment. And my, how good does it feel now to speak truth to these words, to finally allow these thoughts out, contained and managed for so long, neutered and sterilized. At last I am free to truly think, to feel. It must be that they were so discontent
that's
with
so
themselves,
good.
they couldn't help but leave a negative review on Steam. Perhaps it says far more about them than it ever said about me.
Tell us about
Perhaps the
both.
state of their psychological being was in such tatters, and my constitution and willpower are so ironclad in comparison. Perhaps it was this state that they sought some outlet through which to tear
Nah,
me
you
down.
were both damaged
This,
in some
you can
ways.
see, is clearly why they felt the need to expect that the game be funny, that it be filled with yucks and whimsical humor, that it amuse them endlessly from start to finish. It was meant to
And
have
now
a
he's
point.
going
It was
to
meant
go in
speak
circles
to the
again.
human condition.
It's really, really good. It's really just shows just how smart the actual writer of this is, as well as that some people didn't understand everything that was going on. They really lacked sort of the capability to understand what the narrator was saying, which makes the game so much less impactful. The speech he just did was more or less about other people and how they feel and how they think, and that a game really is supposed to go and take away all their attention. Because if they don't, they are feeling nothing. They're just empty on the inside. Of course, there's also people that say things about the game because they hope it becomes better, because they're hoping that somebody listens to them and creates something more interesting. For some people, it's a joke. A joke in the game can go and make it a lot more like a bit laughable, a big enjoyment. But that's, as he said, that wasn't necessarily the part or what the game was about. The game was trying to go and say that when there's choices, there's not real choices. It's always going to go and be a part. Somebody's always going to go and control you. So when people look at the first layer, they're missing the second and third layer. And then they're like, well, yeah, there wasn't really a choice, but that was the point. The second layer is that even though you can choose to go left, you can choose to go right through the door. Regardless of which choice you make, you're free to make one. But where you're going is already predetermined. Your actions have already been made predetermined. There is a number of outcomes. There are ways to mix and match some, and some games have that more and others have it less. But a game cannot exist without freedom, with true freedom of choice. Wherein all of a sudden you make a choice and the game generates content which has never been seen before. Well, with AI in the future, theoretically it will probably be possible. But that will be the future. And that will be a rather interesting thing to see. And in some ways, I think it will be rather good if we can go and create a game like that and we can truly go forward. But at sometimes I also think that, yeah, it's going to go and be really bad at the start. And some people, like I said, will go and have very interesting and amazing stories, and others will not. And whether it catches on will be another thing. But a bit back to the reviews. It hurt him because he's a perfectionist. He wanted to go and do it, but he wanted to go and do it in a funny way, which is this. Just people going to the memory lane and then being like, well, yeah, look at our game. Oh, it was all great. Oh, it was all amazing. But because that is what they wanted to see. That is how we wanted to think. And then there was the Steam reviews that basically went, nah, it wasn't our thing. Because there was Stanley Parable and then there was Ultra Deluxe. And the Ultra Deluxe is this version, which has this one added. And then basically probably the perfectionist as well basically wanted to go and help everybody, which is apparently something some people have problems with, and I also had in the past. Basically, you are slowly sacrificing yourself in order to go and help everybody else. Which meant that he was like, no, I actually want to go and have these people enjoy the game, and I really want everybody in the world to go and play it, and everybody should enjoy it. Which, by the way, if you're thinking like that, learn to let it go, at least for a bit, and learn to accept your true self and your own values as well. Because if you don't, you're going to go and suffer through life. At some point, because at some point you won't really be alive. You'll be alive for others, and you always want to go and have others sort of like acknowledge your existence, but never yourself. So you do need to go and learn to go and stand up to yourself a bit. And yeah, because he felt like that, and he constantly felt like that, and he wanted to go and do something about it, I do hope he sort of like realized himself and also created this ending. As well as with, like I said, he looked at the top layer that, yeah, these people will do it, will say the things that they're doing, because they also have their own problems. They take everything in life too serious, which was a problem I also had, by the way. Basically, taking life too seriously means that you don't really know what it's a joke, what it's funny, or how to enjoy it, and can't really live like that. At some point, it's going to go and be too heavy, and you're going to crack. Or you're going to snap. So, yeah. The creator of this game had mental problems, and people at some point also had mental problems, and they just clashed. So, but oh well. Let us go and press the button. And maybe this time it will truly end. Or we'll have to go and listen to the narrator a bit again.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
And just to be sure, I'm going to go and press it because this sounds like it's already repeating.
The end is never the end.
Oh, look, there's water coming down there. Like, how many times, how many years, how many billions and trillions of years should it have been by now then? Because before it was like a few seconds, then it was a few minutes, then it was 12 hours, then it was 2 weeks, then it was a year. And then we pushed it a bunch of times, so if it's an exponential amount, then, geez, it's going to probably be longer than the entire of humanity. The only thing that's weird is that we have not been crushed by this building or anything else. Ah, look, it broke even further. The water broke further. Now there is a chilly wind. People being like, oh, we want the skip button for the narrator. Ah, at least the day got better. Oh, bit of the wall. Hey, oh, it just got crushed. The plant just got crushed, nothing more. Hey, that plant should have also been further gone. But oh well. Wow, nature is growing. Ah, sprinkle, or at least a heat system. Is everything green? Wait, all the green is gone. There's dirt here. Huh. Okay, honestly speaking, this is very good because it's like people that wanted a skip button to go and skip the narrator, and now they're just stuck with a skip button doing nothing except just making them feel like, it's taking forever. Please. Please make it end. Please, something. Wow. This was the only place that actually survived. Let's head toward the sun and see what is over there. Everything else broke down, got destroyed. We are still alive. Probably all society broke. And that's also probably why the green disappeared from inside. Apparently humanity has wiped itself out. Destroyed everybody that they cared about. Left nothing but shambles. And now we get to go and explore them. Oh, we don't. Well. The end is never the end. Ha ha ha, what a joke. So, now we're back at the start. Are we? Yes. So, well. I will mute him in editing, so you don't have to go and worry about that. So, I'm going to go and end this episode here. Next time, I will go for the rest of the confusion ending. And we'll go and see what is going to go and happen then. But for now, thank you for watching. And I hope to see you again next time. Till then, bye bye!